Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to yet another edition of the Lambom Show. Today is Saturday, November 19th, 2022, and we have our regular Saturday program, the African Soccer Vibes with veteran sports journalist Fon Echekiye. Today was supposed to be the launch of the great show, but if you have been on this program, you know the one problem we have had is technical difficulties. We had a great lineup for today, but technology has not been able to shine on our side. That notwithstanding, we decided we're going to continue with the program. We're going to do something while hoping that the gods of technology are going to shine on us so that we can be able to give you a foretaste of what the next 4 weeks are going to look like. So here we are. At least I'm glad that you have gone through all the hoops to be able to be here. Fun, welcome. And it's been a hectic week for you. How are you today?
Well, I wouldn't say very fine because if you can look at my face is looking very heavy and almost sleepy because we tried to hit the deadline to let our viewers out there know exactly what the Lambom Show was going to be making available during this World Cup period. And of course, the first edition of Sport Vision was going to be theirs this evening. But if you look at my badge here, the badge shows that the Lambom Show was given. They apparently have taken a wrong person's badge, but you would have understood that we are set out here in Cameroon to get things the right way and let the participants and the militants of Lambom Show get things the right way. So that first edition of Sport Vision that was supposed to air tonight is being shifted, it's been held, been put on hold for a couple of hours. Possibly in the course of tomorrow, we'll be having that. So as we speak right now, and you say that the technicians are doing their best to have it on, it's on a package. Normally, it was supposed to have been 30 minutes because the arrangement we made with it was that it was going to be 13 minutes. But somehow we were able to hit the 27-minute mark because we wanted to take off like a Boeing 707 on the tarmac of the World Cup coverage. So we didn't hit it, that we would get in through something in the course of tomorrow before the World Cup proper actually begins later in the day. So we're going to be set tomorrow, and I think that our viewers out there, they should downplay the fact that we had to ask them to take the appointment at 6 o'clock and then subsequently for 10 o'clock. But we're telling you that what is happening is that we are on the job and we are going to get it done. And of course, if you keep the appointment records, it's going to be fine. And I tell you, Lambert, that as soon as many of them heard about something like the rebirth of Sports Vision, they were already set for that. And what we have already on tape is exactly what they would have loved to happen to have as a kicker to the campaign that will run over a period of 1 month. With that notwithstanding, we are ready for that. And just hold your peace in one bit and give us in the hours ahead in the course of tomorrow. That will depend on how Lambert schedules that, and we're going to have our viewers get it as the best launch pad to the World Cup enjoyment, as I would say. That will be in the course of tomorrow.
So again, I want to appreciate the work that you have done this week. It has been really a hectic week, and much of the work has been done by you and the team in Yaounde. The technical things, we'll have to sort them out. And in fact, this gentleman was supposed to be my technical assistant here. He's the one who was supposed to be producing the show. And he's saying Lambom Show needs to work on improving its technical aspect to always entertain us, the viewers. Mr. Lucius Fu, you are not a viewer. You're supposed to be my producer. But as usual, you don't get paid. So that's why you are saying that. We'll try to make sure that you get paid. But I think most likely we are going to do between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. My time here, which is like 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Cameroon time, because I think kickoff in Qatar is 4 p.m. Yaounde time.
Sure.
So an early morning for us. By the time I get off and finish up with Fon, we'll make that up. We'll put up the notification. But it's going to be between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. Yaounde time. So averagely, but we'll put out a notification. That's it. What is new? Finally, the World Cup is here. We are a few hours away from the greatest soccer competition on earth, and the greatest soccer giants have all gathered in Qatar. What is making news on that stage?
What is making news is the fact that the World Cup is around the corner, as you rightly put it, that the soccer giants have taken their appointments and they are already in Qatar to compare skills and see who prevails at the end of the day. And if you were to ask me, I would begin with what we call charity that has always begun at home, to say that Cameroonians have been casting lots, have been breaking their fingers and swearing heaven and earth on what will be the best dispensation for the Cameroon national team as they take on the World Cup Finals this year. What exactly they expect to put in place and let the prophecy of the Federation head Samuel Eto'o come to pass. So it had the key match, which was supposed to be the real assessment of the team that would fly the colors of Cameroon at the World Cup Finals. That was yesterday, and Cameroon played a 1-1 draw with Panama, and it was a full house of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, all of those, the best out of the 26 that were in camp, that was fielded yesterday by Rigobert Song Bahana. And to say that what? To say that Cameroon took the opener through Choupo-Moting early into the second half. No, the match began with Choupo-Moting on the bench. And that's what we had predicted, that both of them, himself and Vincent Aboubakar, would unlikely play in the field at the same time. One of them have to begin and the other one have to complete the job at the end of the day. So Choupo-Moting was on the bench, and Vincent Aboubakar, as the team captain, began the match. There were a few moments of flashes demonstrated by Aboubakar. They didn't score a goal. So just as they brought in Choupo-Moting in the place of Aboubakar at the start of the second half, he did what he's been known to do of late, the destroyer. He got the ball from the edge of the box and he tried the first time, and the Panamanian goalkeeper parried the ball. When it came on the second time, he sighted better this time around and beat the guys to the close angle and gave them Cameroon one goal lead. And it took 7 minutes for Panama, a very good side from what we watched yesterday, to come back to the game. And what happened? Andre Onana, who was a great goalkeeper throughout yesterday's match, at some point had to be perforated, had his resistance broken when there was a free kick that would have been something like 22 meters from his goal line. And when that free kick was taken, indirect free kick, or rather a direct free kick, the ball sailed straight into the net. It, at the end of the day, ended up something like causing a concern that a free kick taken from that distance would beat Andre Onana, who had been so good in the course of the match. But that was it. And if we had Sport Vision on tonight, we've heard a number of Cameroonians expressing their frustrations at the fact that he had to concede that goal. But they forget that the truth is, Lambert, if we didn't have a good Andre Onana yesterday, believe me, Cameroon would have been defeated before they traveled to Qatar. So his performance, as far as concerned, was great. We also had a great showing coming in from Ryan Bemu. We had a great showing coming from the man who had been whose presence in the team had been clamored for, Frank Zambo-Anguissa, Toko Ekambi. All of them they stood up they played to the billing yesterday. In fact, Cameroon has an encouraging team they have taken to the World Cup. What is now left to be done is just how Coach Rigobert Song Bahana can be able to harness the potential he has in camp to give Cameroon the all-conquering spirit that almost everyone is clamoring for, of course, except for Cameroon's opponents. So the Cameroon team that was supposed to have jetted into Doha tonight, it's ready for the match or for the start of the competition next Thursday.
So again, that's a veteran sports journalist giving us an analysis of what is going on. And I was talking about the Cameroon national team, the Lions, the indomitable Lions. And I wanted to go into the tactics of that game because I found it interesting that he put Aboubakar on the bench and got in, put the main man that everybody is clamoring for. I don't know why some would prefer Abubakar. You know, this is supposed to be a game. This is supposed to be a competition where you have to maximize the scoring opportunities. And so far, Abubakar has not proven that he's going to be able to score as many goals as he claims. And one wonders what Cameroon has to offer during this competition, given their opponents, Switzerland, Serbia, and Brazil. But like we have seen many people predict, we have seen many people think that, again, all Cameroon needs to do is maybe win against the Swiss, beat the Swiss, and then get a draw against the Serbians, and you can lose against the Brazilians and qualify to the second round. That is left to be seen, and it is unfortunate. But we all know that at this time, most of the teams are settled in Qatar. They're in Doha, and tomorrow the competition kicks off. And one wonders which team is going to lift this World Cup this time around. One wonders which of the teams is going to leave its mark. And soccer has become very, very competitive. It has always been, but this time around, there are too many factors. And it is interesting. It's going to be 4 weeks of intense competition. One person asked me about the human rights situation in Qatar. And again, it's important because most of the time, when it comes to soccer competitions or when it comes to things related to leisure, we tend to forget about some of the things that we have to shine a light on. There have been very, very many stories told about things happening in the Middle East, how Africans have been maltreated, are being maltreated in the Middle East. There are many of our brothers and sisters who are in the Middle East and they are undergoing real torture, human rights abuses, and many of them have been cited. So if you want to read news reports, it is one of the things that is the headlines for most papers, most news agencies is about the human rights abuses in Qatar. And one wonders why FIFA would decide to get on this kind of negative PR by insisting on hosting a competition at that level and that country. But that notwithstanding, and we are not saying that notwithstanding and as if we want to treat that lightly, sports is something that keeps human beings alive. Sports is something that keeps us active. Sports is something that keeps us healthy. At the same time, we cannot sacrifice that for the rights of our own. And I believe that it is important for people, let all of us be able to, shine a light on that. Girls who have been maltreated, girls who have been sexually harassed. We have seen very gruesome images of our sisters who travel to these countries and how they have been maltreated. There are boys, men who are suffering there. Maybe every time we come on this month, we should highlight the human rights abuses that are happening all over Qatar at this period. There are many of our friends who are there, but in addition to that, it is time for us to look at what does this soccer hold for us. I wanted to lift up my sister, my friend, Haiti Awambeng, who celebrated her 50th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Haiti. Congratulations on your birthday. She's a fashion designer. She has her own line, and I'm going to put that on. Raymond, welcome. I know you and I are yet to have a conversation as to why you are still in Yaounde, but let's have that after this program. But Fon just made an analysis of the performance of the Lions yesterday, the friendly game. What are your prognostics having watched the game? What do you think about the team and the rest of the African teams?
Yes, which game are you talking about?
The Cameroon versus Panama.
Yes, that that he made an analysis of the game already.
Well, he was talking about how prepared the team is, the Lions, and he just mentioned some tactical things, but I would like to get your own appraisal of that game. How prepared do you think the Lions are? What are their prospects? Do you think they're going to go far?
Well, I think we had about 8 of the team players who played against Egypt. We had about 8 of the players who played against Algeria in the match against Panama. So basically, we saw yesterday in the match against Panama that the Lions 4-3-3 is suited to them. It's true that against Panama we played with 1 defensive midfielder and 2 offensive midfielders, but Switzerland plays with 2 defensive midfielders and just 1 offensive midfielder. So I'm foreseeing that in the second half we changed Olivier Ncham to put in Kunde Malong, so that Zamboanguissa should play as the lone offensive midfielder forward, and maybe that's what we are mostly likely to get against Switzerland. So I think it was a good test game for the Lions. We tried Vincent Bakar, and then the replacement Choupo-Moting. We also played with Toko Ekambi and Brian Mbeumo. We changed the wings, putting in Ngamale and Basogok. We also changed certain midfielders. We changed Nicolas Nkulu to put in Christopher O. So the satisfaction from that game is that at least we used different players for different objectives. Since the Burundi game, we've played 4 friendly games. That's against Uzbekistan, South Korea, Jamaica, and Panama. And we just have to wait now till the 24th of December to see if the Lions are ready to be able to face Switzerland.
Yeah, so Raymond, I was curious before. Do you think the decision by the coach to keep Choupo-Moting on the bench and field Abubakar was a wise decision? Is there a possibility of having both of them play up front and maintain maybe kind of a 4-4-2? Is that a possibility? How do you read the tactical, call it tactical appraisal, tactical manifestation of the coaching team that is currently in place?
Well, it's true that with the form of Choupo-Moting and the fact that Vincent Bakar is captain, we are tempted to try to play 4-4-2, where we'll have Choupo-Moting, who is in top form, and we have Vincent Bakar, who is the captain. We are tempted to have that. But the thing is, playing a 4-4-2 is going to be very difficult tactically, because you'll have to get a left midfielder. You also have to get a right midfielder. Right now, if you look at the players that we took to the World Cup, not many players are suited to that profile. I think 4-3-3 is the best. It gives us more presence in midfield. It also helps the players in the sense that if we are attacking in a real 4-4-3 sense, and if we are defending, we defend with many more bodies. But I think apart from that, the coach did not really reveal what he wanted to play. I think he was still searching for what would be the best. The ideal would be to start with Choupo-Moting, given that he's in top form. But I think we'll have to see. We have till Thursday, we have till the 24th of November to see if Choupo-Moting has won the tactical battle against Vincent Bakar. Now, Vincent Bakar also, since Rigobert Song came into the Lions, then he has not been able to score. He scored his goals during the AFCON. So is he willing to accept that if he doesn't start the match, he still remains a captain, but he can come on and still be able to provide the damage to the opponents that we need? So, these are things that the coaching staff has to look at. But, only if we want to make the team only on form, certainly Choupo-Moting has to start, Zamboanguissa has to start, Castelletto has to start. Christopher Wu has to start. So there are many players who want them to be able to start the match against Switzerland based on current form. But a national team doesn't only work on current form. It also goes with complementarity and with how the players understand themselves. And I think that's the most important for this team right now.
So do you think Brian Ngemo has found his feet? Do you think he's gelled into the team currently, and I think he's the greatest revelation so far for the new Cameroonian outfit? What's your assessment of his performance at this? I mean, he plays in the EPL, so it's a higher level of intensity. But you're wondering within the national team how he fits in and whether it's a good fit.
Well, I think Brian Ngemo has been able to integrate himself with the Lions. He played the 2 friendly matches. He played also the match against Panama. I think they are trying to integrate him as much as possible. We saw some balls directly from Andre Onana to Brian Ngemo, which means that these are things which were being talked about and which were being looked at during the training session. He had very good balls from Andre Onana. He also had some balls from Fai Collins to be able to be quite effective on the right wing. I think Brian Ngemo merits a starting position against Switzerland. Now, it depends on what we want. It's true that also defensively, he provides the same output like we had with Mumin Ngamale. What I like most about him is the fact that he has the pace, he has the speed, and then he's willing to work for the team. And I think that's what we want. I think he may start against Switzerland. It will be very good. And even if it doesn't last for 90 minutes, but he's going to be a thorn in the flesh of the Swiss players, for sure.
So, I mean, you mentioned already, but maybe what is your best 11 for the national team, Cameroon national team at this point?
Well, based on current form, we'll surely have Fai Collins on the right. That's Andre Onana in the goal post. Fai Collins on the right. Nuntolo on the left. Christopher Wu and Jean-Charles Castelletto in central defense. And then as defensive midfielders, Martin Ongla and Samuel Umgwet. And then Zambo Anguissa up front. To the right, Brian Ngemo. To the left, Toko Ekambi. And then up front, we'll certainly have Choupo-Moting. But based on the fact that the coach is a former footballer, he will also always want to go in with experience. And we may have a centre-back pairing of Kulu, Castelletto, and maybe the attack line will be Choupo-Moting. Because, former footballers who turn coaches always look at players too in terms of experience. But I think the fact that Choupo-Moting is on the bench or Christopher Wu is on the bench, it doesn't cancel the output that they may help the Lions with during the encounter.
So, based on your analysis of the other 31 teams, what are the chances of the Cameroon national team, the Lions, going beyond the first round?
Well, I'll have to be honest. The Lions, their qualification to the second round depends on the first game. We win the first game or we draw the first game, I think we have high chances of qualifying. If we avoid a defeat, we have high chances of qualifying.
Okay, let's move on to the other African teams. The one that is making news this week is Senegal because their captain is out finally, and that's a big blow to the Senegalese team. What is your assessment of the level of preparedness of the Teranga Lions of Senegal?
Well, I think that the Teranga Lions, they were certainly very, very much prepared with knowing that they have Sadio Mane and in their side. But given that Sadio Mane is injured, it will be certainly very difficult for them because we've watched them. The options that they've had as exchange options. You have Boulaye Dia, you have Famara Diéou. Those options have been not quite performant as much as Sadio Mane. So it's true that you have certain pundits, certain betting odds, which had Senegal as dark horses for this tournament. Looking at their group, that is Netherlands, Senegal, Qatar, Ecuador, many people were saying that, okay, Senegal had a great chance, the greatest African chance even, to qualify for the second round of the World Cup. And then looking at Group B, that Senegal had the chance to maybe attain even the quarterfinals, and one never knows, even the semi-finals. But with Sadio Mane out, it is a big blow for the Senegalese national team. I certainly don't want to be in the shoes of Aliou Cissé right now, because to have a team without Sadio Mane, how do you compose a competitive squad without Sadio Mane? It's going to be very, very difficult for them. I think we hope for the best. Their first game is against the Netherlands. And I mean, the Netherlands, they are top 10 in the FIFA rankings. I think they are 8th. It will be a very difficult match for them. My problem with the Netherlands is, even if they lose against the Netherlands, they should not give up hope. They have Qatar, they have Ecuador. Even with 6 points, they can still qualify. We don't want them to qualify with 4 points this time around. Since last time they had 4 points and they had disciplinary issues that they didn't qualify. So we expect that Senegal is going to give it their all without Sadio Mane to be able to make Africa proud.
Then move on to the Black Stars of Ghana. What are their chances at this competition, and how prepared are they, do you think?
Well, I think Ghana had a moral booster against Switzerland. The fact that they were able to beat Switzerland 2-0, that's really a moral boosting victory. But it doesn't cancel the fact that, for me, Ghana is in a group of death. How do they solve Portugal, Uruguay, and the South Korea equation? South Korea, we all know that in 2018, they were able to beat Germany in the 3rd place game. For me, that's the group of death, and it's a very, very difficult group. But we've been surprised in football before. The fact that they were able to qualify against Nigeria, I expect nothing less but surprises from that group.
Little is being heard about the other two teams. I don't know whether, obviously, we are just minimizing them. And I'm talking about Morocco and Tunisia. What do you think about the Moroccan team?
Well, Morocco played a friendly recently. They were able to beat Georgia 3-0. We all saw the wonderful goal that Hakim Ziyech scored, which shows and it confirms the fact that the Moroccan team really needed stardust in the name of Hakim Ziyech. Well, Georgia is it's not a main country in the European landscape, but I think it's going to give lots and lots of hope to this Moroccan national team. The same goes for Tunisia. Tunisia played a friendly recently. They were able to draw. Tunisia is also a relative unknown, because from the way they qualified, and then when you look at their group, where you have France, you have Denmark, you have Australia, they may certainly beat Australia, but are they able to beat France and Denmark? France are one of the favorites for this World Cup, based on the fact that they are the defending champions. Denmark, we all saw what they did during the Euros, how they surprised many nations. They were able to perform very well. So you have a Tunisian team which they certainly have to surprise us to be able to qualify from that group. So both the Moroccans and the Tunisians are in quite difficult groups, and will be very, very much happy if they could qualify out of these groups.
So by your estimation, I think it looks like there's no African team you are really excited about going beyond the first round. The Senegalese team, from what you say, because their star man is out, is going to be difficult. Ghana is the group of death. How they solve that problem is a puzzle we all are scratching our heads off. Morocco and Tunisia, they leave us with little or no hope. So, where do you stand with Africa beyond the first round?
Well, I still have hopes that one or two African countries may qualify for the next round. Excuse me. I'm looking at the World Cup, and we did not have 1 month of preparation like in the former World Cups. We are just, the season is not yet even in the middle of the season, because the highest championships have played 15 or 16 games of play. So I think players are still in their top form. I think we are going to have surprises. Asia, the Asian Confederation has 6 teams in the World Cup. Africa has 5. Europe has 13. CONMEBOL has 4. CONCACAF 2 has 4. So I think it's going to be surprises all along. If you had asked me before, 1 month before, I would have told you that about 1 or 2 African countries may qualify. But with Senegal and the fact that they cannot have Mané, it's going to be difficult for them. It's going to be difficult for all the African teams to qualify. But I don't think that it's impossible, because one of our main assets too could be the fact that the climate conditions. It's very hot over there in Qatar, even with the cooling stadia. So certainly we may have surprises from 1 or 2 African teams, as much as we may also have surprises from 1 or 2 Asian teams.
So let's move beyond just Africa. Talk about the competitions in general. What are you looking out for? Which team do you think is? I mean, let me be very blunt about it. Which team are you looking out for being maybe lifting the competition, the cup this year? Do you think France is going to repeat its feat? I think it's between France, Germany, Brazil, of course. I know you like the Brazilian side for obvious reasons. But which of these teams do you think is going to be the champions of the World Cup come December 18th?
Well, I don't really rate France that much because I think losing in midfield, all the midfield, that's Blaise Matuidi, Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante, is very difficult to replicate that kind of performance. Also, Germany, the fact that they didn't qualify in 2018, it will be a wonderful feat for them to even reach the semi-finals or the finals this time around. I think the teams which I'm looking forward to are Brazil, Argentina, for obvious reasons. They have a huge talent pool. Portugal also has a huge talent pool. They may surprise us. Uruguay. Spain, for me, Spain are one of the top favorites in this World Cup. And then as dark horses, I'll certainly have Denmark, because what Denmark showed in the Euros, Denmark, yes, too may have a point to prove in this World Cup. So, I mean, these are basically the teams I'm looking forward to. But I have to add that if Sadio Mane was with Senegal, I would have added Senegal to this list.
So what is it about the Brazilian team that is making everybody scared? They have always been, but they really, it seems they lose something towards the end. They on paper, they always look excellent. Because I think you could take 24 players, 26 players, and form 2 A teams, and they will perform at the same level. But for some reason, they are not able to pull it through. What is wrong with the Brazilian team?
No, I think in 2014 and in 2018, there was too much dependence on Neymar. We all saw that, especially in 2014, when Neymar was not there, the Brazilian team, mentally, psychologically, they were already beaten even before the match started. But if you look at the Brazilian team this year, they have so many solutions up front. I mean, we could even count them: Rodrigo, Neymar, Vinicius. Richarlison, Anthony, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus. So there are so many players up front who could provide the difference at any time. So that's why we are looking at the Brazilian team. But it still takes a team performance. It still takes lots of football to be able to get to the finish line. We expect Brazil to get to the finish line, but they have to prove it on the pitch.
Which players are you looking forward to most? Which are the players one should be excited about this time? And given that you and I share a common liking for Manchester United with our famous star Ronaldo pooping on his way out, what is your take of the stars that we should watch out for at the World Cup? And remember that there's a Cameroonian prodigy, Mukoko, who is playing in Germany. Is going to be coming in for the German national team. Surprisingly, there are 2 or 3 real Cameroonian players who would have. I think there's one even in the French team, if I'm not mistaken. But what's your assessment generally of the players one should watch out for?
Well, I think Ronaldo is in his 5th World Cup. For sure, if he scores in this World Cup, he'll become the first player to score in 5 World Cups. The players I'm looking mostly, I'm looking forward to them. Certainly the trio from Paris Saint-Germain, that's Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, because the way they've played the start of this season shows that they were really preparing for the World Cup. If you take Mbappe, for example, Mbappe knows that he's going to be paired up front with the current Ballon d'Or winner. So you have to be able to prove that you are up there with the best, and that you may even take off the shine out of the Ballon d'Or, which is Benzema. For Messi has already said it is his last World Cup, and that he's going to give it his all to finally leave the trophy after crashing out in 2014, where they didn't win against Germany. And then for Neymar, they are the top favorites. Neymar certainly is going to play in a position which he's used to, but not the role. I mean, he will play certainly up front for Brazil, but not as a number 9. A little bit as a number 9.5 or as a number 10, flanked by 2 excellent wingers. So, I mean, these are the players I'm looking forward to. But I think we also have goal scorers. We have Lewandowski, we have Harry Kane. We certainly have other players from other teams which may surprise us in this tournament and also prove their worth as football players.
So it will be terrible for me to live in the United States and not talk about the US team, isn't it? I mean, they are coming up, and surprisingly, they were paired in a group with the against the English team and Wales. And I'm wondering how that happened. But what do you think of the soccer team from the United States and also the UK team, the English team?
Well, I think I'll start with the USMNT. I think for me, they were paired in quite a very good group. The standout favorite there is England, but the United States they are the second ranking team in that group with Iran and Wales. And I mean, Wales, since 1958, Wales have not been to a World Cup. So certainly there will be that rediscovery for Wales as to what a World Cup looks like. So I'm not very much looking as to how Wales is going to play, even though they have Gareth Bale playing in the MLS right now. The political and diplomatic game, just like we had in 1998, is certainly going to be the game, the US versus Iran. And I think Iran has been talking about it more than the US, that they're looking forward to that game, that if they can beat the US, it means they certainly want to also beat them diplomatically. But I think the US, they have a chance. They have quite some good players and a good coach with Greg Berhalter. I mean, you have Christian Pulisic, You have the player from Juventus, the midfielder. That's why am I forgetting his name? I mean, these are players who they have a lot to offer to the U.S. national team, and I also think that the U.S. team should qualify for the second round so that they should put that debate to rest. That because in the US we know that the female national team is much more performant than the men national team. So if they don't qualify for the second round, it will be as if there is a waste of money from the USMT, and that the women were right to to protest about the same pay packages in terms of match bonuses. But if you look at the English team, I think you have enough credit has not been given to Gareth Southgate. The past two tournaments that England has been involved in, Gareth Southgate has taken this team to the last four. So I think England is a force to be reckoned with. They have a huge talent pool. They have so many good players that you can compose even two teams with them. But now it's about what do they offer on the pitch. This is a team in which we've known that they had Gerrard, they had Lampard, and they had Paul Scholes in one time, but they even couldn't reach the finals of the World Cup. So I think this new generation that we have a lot of young players, they should be able to prove their illustrious big brothers wrong, that even though they are young, they still have that experience, they still have that hunger to be able to take England and bring the cup back home as they wish, as much as possible.
So it's interesting. Welcome back, Fon. I'm sure you got disconnected, but it's interesting that the game USA versus England is taking place on Black Friday. That's the day after Thanksgiving. So soccer is not quite a popular thing in the United States, but I know that it's going to be quite a game to watch on Black Friday, and we want to wish them the best. There's something somebody wanted to know from you from while you're away. Couldn't hold my breath when I had not seen the reminder. We await Fon's prediction as to how far the Lions will go now that Ngado Ondoa and Oyongo Pitolo are history.
Well, first of all,
there's something wrong with your connections, Fon. Let's again. But Raymond, let's go beyond this thing. Let me play something for you. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but tell me if you hear it or not. Let me see.
Today we will be talking about the curse of the World Cup champions. This curse of the World Cup champions started in 1998 when France won the World Cup. France won the World Cup and they went to 2002 with high hopes for their nation.
Can you hear that?
Yes, I'm hearing it.
Without winning a single game. Where in 2002 the FIFA World Cup was won by Brazil. Brazil had won the World Cup and went to 2006 fearing they would experience what France did, but they did not. Eventually, they got eliminated in the knockout stages, but they did not go out in the group stages. They survived. 2006 winners were Italy. Italy won the World Cup that year and went to 2010 fearing they would experience what France did. And they did. They got eliminated in the group stages. 2010 winners were Spain, who played some great football that year. Spain went to the 2014 World Cup hoping they could break the curse, but they couldn't. They ended up getting eliminated from the World Cup during the group stages. Germany won the World Cup that year and they were 2014 winners of the World Cup. Germany went to 2018 thinking that they could break the curse. They would be the first nation to not experience that curse recently. But Germany were the most recent team to experience the curse when they went out in the group stages. France won the 2018 World Cup. And in 2022, coming up, They have had some injuries, but they have a great squad. Will anything be different? What will we see from France?
So again, I was unable to play the whole thing. Let me get back. I have to download that, but that is from Sam Anoma. Sam Anoma is a young guy. I think Sam is about 10 years old. I may be wrong with that, but it's between 10 and 12. If he's old, Sam will be about 11. But Sam is a great sports analyst, and Sam just, I've forgotten about that, but it's about the winners of the World Cup seemingly never go beyond the first round. That's what is being called the curse of the finalists, of the winner. So what is it about the winners of the World Cup that they come back and they are hardly able to repeat the same feat?
Well, I think it's difficult to explain, but the one thing is that football is a sport which also deals in consistency. France won the World Cup in 1998, but coming into the 2002 World Cup, they had Zidane injured. Zidane only played the last encounter, and it was against Denmark, and they lost. So that's why they crashed out of the 2002 World Cup. But I think they came back stronger in 2006 and reached the finals. I think Brazil is the only one who won the 2002 World Cup. They crashed out in the quarterfinals in 2006 against France. Italy have fared quite poorly when they won the World Cup in 2006, and what happened in 2010. So I think if in recent, this millennium, we've had the curse of the winners. Now, it is very difficult for France because coaches live on been there, done that, which basically translates on consistency. For me, it is going to be very difficult for Deschamps to be able to say, I had Blaise Matuidi in 2018, I had Paul Pogba in 2018, I had Golo Kante in 2018, and then all of a sudden I have to make do with Adrien Rabiot, Eduardo Camavinga, and Aurelien Tchouameni. It's going to be very difficult. That's for sure. So, something is telling me that Denmark may top that group, but I think we are not there yet. We still have to see it. But I don't believe that France will reach the finals of the World Cup because the consistency is not there. We have to see whether they have the right consistency, whether they've been able to work on certain issues, and whether they have that mental strength to be able to question themselves so that they don't crash out of the first round. But for me, it's going to be very, very difficult, a very, very difficult tournament for France, and not only France, even Croatia, because in 2018, they surprised a lot of countries, but right now, everybody is waiting to put the spanner in the works of the champions.
So, unfortunately, I'm surprised you didn't reference the fact that Aurelien Tchouameni is a Cameroonian, but it's normal. I found pictures online that have shown a completely black African team going to represent France, but that's something that has always been. You have people who have made a mockery of that. It's still a French team, and it's unfortunate too that many players have been injured. That's just the way the game works, isn't it? Every time we have the World Cup, there are people who are going to miss it because of injury. It's a professional game. They are coming from professional leagues, and so you are always going to have that. I don't think Cameroon is suffering from any of that. We don't have any players who would have loved them to be part of the team, and they are not there because they are injured. The one player we did not talk about is, you mentioned it in passing, Basogok is back in the team. I don't know. Do you think I know he's in form, but he plays in China, or where was that league he plays in?
Chinese Super League.
Yeah. What is your assessment of Basogok, and do you think he's up to the task?
I think all the 26 players in the national team have their role that they're playing. Basogok certainly provides width. He has his dribbling skills. He has some pace, even though not electrifying pace, but he has some pace when he gets to dribbling. So he'll be able to provide solutions in the last 10, 15 minutes, that's for sure. But I think Basogog's greatest asset is what he brings to the dressing room to try to bring in fun and relieve the players of a certain level of stress for the national team. But I think that notwithstanding, talking about the fact that we didn't talk about players and their positions, well, I think that it is the coach who knows the objective why they are calling each player for the national team. You may call in a Mokoko and he doesn't play the 3 matches or 4 or 5 or 6, 7 matches in a World Cup. So what would you have gained? Brazil won the 1994 World Cup, but Ronaldo was on the bench all through. So World Cups have also different objectives for coaches. Look at the young Simon, the goalkeeper, and Ngapa something. I think just the fact that he's in the national team, it also tells us that this is a young pearl that we've been able to take under the noses of France, and we should do everything to keep him. I mean, if I look at players like Isua Mukoko, Amel Bella Kochap, all of them playing for Germany, I asked myself the question, if these players had agreed to sign with Cameroon, they should have been on the road to the World Cup right now.
So there's some, again, for the last 3 months or 4 months that we have talked about some malaces that always plague the Cameroon national team. And my ears have been on the ground. I've been listening and watching and trying to find out. Seemingly, for the first time in a major soccer competition, the indomitable Lions are going in very high spirits. I watched a clip published by Fekafood of the national president giving a pep talk to the team. We criticize Samuel Eto'o, but I think that the fact that you have a former soccer player as president of Fekafood is a good sign, and you can see some of this happening. But I wanted to find your appreciation of, the team, the Cameroon national team, and the issues that they have had, and how these have been cleared out, at least as of today.
Well, the issue is that I think Samuel Eto'o has been doing quite a good job. The Lions, even during the AFCON 2021, which was played this year, we didn't get any news or any knowledge about the fact that players didn't receive their bonuses. This time around, they're going for a World Cup. They've been promised 60 million francs CFA bonuses just for the group stage, which is a good motivational factor. And I think he said it during his motivational message that he's trying to change things. That is the first time they're going in without any issues. That what they felt or what they lived as players, they will not want this current crop of players or even their younger ones or even the future generations to live that. I think that's a good speech. That's a good start, and that they could not have done this without the help of the Cameroon government. So that too is another positive in the sense that collaboration between the government and the federation is moving on smoothly. But I think an assessment of the team can only be gotten if we really play our first match. Against Panama, we did not see that intensity that we saw against South Korea, and it's understandable. The players wanted to avoid injuries as much as possible. So I think we expect to see a better showing against Switzerland come 24th of November. We expect to see that intensity. We expect to see players who are defending the national cause of Cameroon and really giving their all. And like Samuel Eto'o said, even if we have to lose, let's lose with the notion that we gave it our all, but the opponent was better than us.
So I wanted to just take this for next week, just to give a rundown of the games. The first African team to play is going to be on Monday, 11 a.m. my time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is like 5 a.m. Cameroon time. The times are quite crazy.
Yeah.
Senegal is going to be playing against the Netherlands on Monday. That's the first team. And on Tuesday, 2 a.m. Cameroon time, 8 a.m. Washington, D.C. time, we have Tunisia versus Denmark. Wednesday, 5 a.m. Washington, D.C. time, that's 11 p.m. Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Cameroon time, Morocco versus Croatia. And Thursday, that's the D-Day for those who support the Cameroon team. And seemingly, there are always going to be two African teams playing on. When Cameroon is playing, Ghana is also going to be playing at the same time. So on Thursday, we have Switzerland versus Cameroon. And later on, we have Ghana versus Portugal. And on Friday, we'll have Qatar versus Senegal. So by the time we come back on Saturday, and I know that we are going to split, we'll have a program in between, I think on Wednesday, but that will come out. By the time we come, all the teams would have played at least their first games, and Senegal may only be the only team that would have played 2 games because they would have played against Qatar. And I think, so Raymond, these apart from the teams, the soccer teams, what is it that is exciting about Qatar? You must have seen a few things. What is it that is making the difference in the World Cup this year?
I think for a population of about between 3 to 4 million, the fact that they took on the challenge to host the World Cup is quite exciting. They've been able to build 8 international stadia of standard. I mean, they even have one called Stadium 974, built out of 974 containers, and then built with that number simply because it's the calling code of Qatar. I think they've been able to show us infrastructure that we're still to discover, like having a hotel or a tourism site on water that you can still be in that tourism site and still you can go to town. It can accommodate many more fans who are going to come for the World Cup. But apart from that, we are seeing a country which is fighting for recognition of its culture, of its way of life, of its tradition, by sending out a message to the LGBT movement, refusing beer and saying that beer is only going to be bought in certain fan zones in specific places. So, I mean, we are seeing a country which is trying to assert itself at the level of FIFA, who is taking the last decisions. But I think the opening game tomorrow is going to be full of culture, full of nice show before the opener, Qatar versus Ecuador. And I think apart from the fact that they have neighboring countries around them, United Arab Emirates, you have Jordan, you have Syria, you have Oman, all these countries which have promised help to Qatar. I think the most important one is the fact that Qatar has been able to do what many nations have not been able to do, and organizing alone as a sole host. I think in the next 4 years this is going to change, because we're going to have USA, Mexico, and Canada. So I think more and more we could be going to co-hosting in terms of World Cup and in single World Cups. But I think kudos to Qatar for hosting such a wonderful tournament. And then we like the cultural experience, and we can't wait to get there even after the World Cup.
I want to appreciate Minimo Carl. I wish to appreciate all of you for the show today. Thank you for joining, and we apologize for all the technical things. Fon is back again, technical issues, but we're sorry. Any word?
Wow, it's really been a hell of a time there when we were trying to put together the sport vision for tonight, and then what is happening here tonight. It's a shame, but I hope that this is what you could describe as the last kicks of a dying horse. So we sure hope that as of tomorrow, when we will have that edition of Sport Vision that could not go on tonight, or have that will be paving a way for the 90 days ahead. We're not going to be having such technical troubles anymore. I think that we agreed on that, and we just hope that our viewers would appreciate the fact that we try to hook up even each time we go below the water level, and we try to come back. So I wouldn't have known exactly what you discussed with or the kind of conversation I had with Raymond throughout all this night. But for now, I think that what I could say, I got the question that was being asked. They said that they know that I always give predictions of matches and performances of the Lions, and things come to pass. So the viewer was getting more and more interested in knowing about Fon's prediction as to how the Lions will now, given that Ngadu, Ondua, and Oyongo Bitolo are history. Well, how I wish they were not history, that were really geography, talking about the relief of the den and the surrounding environments. The truth about it is that I feel positive about the Lions. One thing I know is not going to happen in Qatar is that Cameroon will not come out of that place a ridicule. What can happen there is, even if they were to lose the matches, they would have given a good account of themselves. You know, sometimes when they play in a game of football and you don't win, they say you lost, but you played a better game. Sometimes they say you played better, but it's the poor side won. So I think what is actually going to happen, with what I've seen so far, the Lions, and the kinds of things that have happened. I know at one point Raymond was trying to say that, or not trying to say, he was saying that it's been ages since this team went to a World Cup Finals without this perennial neurosis of match bonuses and so on and so forth. This is a time everything has been put in place. That's what I've been told. There is no noise coming out of them talking about bonuses. And so therefore, we expect that the Lions are going to have to give us the best they can give. So one thing I'm sure about for now is that Cameroon will not come out of that place with a ridiculous report card. That one I'm very sure about it. Stepping for the fact that they have been able to train well for the tournament. They've had what they deserve in terms of the participation in the tournament, and that they've had the Cameroonian populace stand behind them, beginning from when the new guy in charge of FIFA Food came to place. And the language that has been spoken up to now is such that we expect Cameroon to put in just the best, that at the end of the day, you wouldn't say it was because of this or that Cameroon did not win. Actually, there is something I would have loved us to talk about, but that is now history. All of that, you got them on Sport Vision tomorrow. I hear you say that, Lambert, that you're programming that for between 1 and 2 p.m. tomorrow. The things that probably have not been discussed yet tonight are going to be discussed tomorrow on Sport Vision, given that the tape is already ready for broadcast, and we're going to be doing just that. So have your peace. We expect the Lions to come out there having given what you usually refer to as a good account of themselves.
So thank you very much for I mean, we have exhausted our time since we still have to come back tomorrow. But I wanted to pose one last question to you, because you have covered 5 World Cups. So how does it feel not being in Qatar? And on a more serious note, how did you prepare? So this is for those who are journalists who want to prepare for how to cover the World Cup. How did you normally prepare for the World Cup? What
well, before the World Cup, first of all, you asked the first question. You were saying that how does it feel preparing to go for the World Cup? It's always plenty of excitement. You are going to make new friends. You are going to improve on your CV. And you are going to improve on your diary in terms of your telephone booklet, the depth of your telephone booklet, all of that. You grow better and bigger professionally when you're going for the World Cup Finals.
So Yaounde has not been doing us good today. Fon has been struggling with connectivity, and he has actually had to drive across town to go to a place where we thought he had better connectivity. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed this teaser. Join us tomorrow again at the same, on this same channel. It's going to be 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 2 p.m. Cameroon time. Tomorrow we're going to have a foretaste. We're going to do a sports vision. It's going to be a 30 minutes program. and it's based on expectations, analysis, and commentaries of the forthcoming games. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure, again, go to our YouTube channel, like, share the broadcast, please subscribe so that you don't miss any details. We are going to be giving you things that no other person is covering of the World Cup. There are people who are based in Qatar, but they will not be able to. There are many people that, many things we have put behind the scenes to be able to make sure that we give you a real treat. So please invite others, come on, and let's together watch the World Cup on the Lambom Show. I want to appreciate all of you, and I'm very grateful, Aloysius. Thank you. Thank the two of you for keeping us updated with sports news during the World Cup period in Qatar 2022. Thank you very much. Again, if there are things you want us to cover, if there are things there are people you know we should interview, please send those details our way. And as always, we are welcoming support of any kind. This is a huge operation that we are undertaking. We need support. Reach out to us. Whatever you give is going to help go a long way. So just so you know, there are 2 reporters in Yaounde plus Fon. There are 2 cameramen who are there with him, and there's an editor working with him, and then there's a gentleman. Raymond is supposed to be on his way to Qatar. So that's a huge operation for us to be able to pull that. And anything and everything you give is going to help a long way to make sure that this experience is a good one. I want to thank you all. Sorry that we started off late, but that again was because we're trying to bring you the best. Tomorrow we'll try to be on time. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it sweet. Thank you. Until then, have a good evening. See you tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m., same channel, same station. Thank you and bye-bye.